And I would like to also introduce Sheldon Helfman. Sheldon, step to the podium. As you may know, the watercolors in this gallery and Orange Gallery and Schmidt and Cox Gallery are the work of Sheldon Helfman. He was clever enough to get a cold, and so he has a few words.
Well, the list that says tomato, orange, and banana. Look, the tremors are already here. This is not good. In driving down highways, I'm reminded that in 1964,
Shelley, can you use it?
Yeah, please.
in 1964, when my daughter was 7 and my son was 5, we went out, we camped out west, going to Oregon to teach at Portland, then Portland State College, which is now Portland. And to economize, we camped along the way. So we stopped at every national park, state park. And in one of them, in the concessions, we discovered a book which was entitled something like The Spores and Tracks of North American Animals. Oh, imagine. This book had carefully detailed pen and ink drawings of animal droppings and footprints. It was all about animals and not a single picture of an animal in this. This was a book we had to have. And now I've achieved an exhibition about people that has no people. I think that might answer your question. Well, here they are. After I have been working in this vein for quite some time, I appreciate the fact that David Plowcott was an important, and I think significant photographer, on par with Walker Evans, had published a number of books, one of them called Commonplace, another called The Hand of Man in America. And these books were all of random sites around the country, all of them rather ugly, strange, and I hadn't appreciated how influential those books were as I rediscovered them after I had worked this way for about 20 years. And I have to acknowledge that the nature of the choices that he made were very influential in triggering the kinds of selectivity that I've exercised in many of these works. They deal not with the exotic or the ideal, which many artists perhaps prefer to be working for representational artists, but they do celebrate the mundane and the commonplace. Most characteristic is the imperfect, flawed, and blemished properties that are accompanied with the arbitrariness with which things are arranged. And they comprise the chaos that we contend with daily, being the sum of casually made random decisions. The imperfection nurtured by the wearing down of matter over time, causing the inevitable distress of age, is also a condition that I've strived to capture in these paintings. I've been inclined to seek out odd juxtapositions of entities layered in space, which is a perspective trick as old as the Renaissance, that exploits the vantage by constant shift of one's movement. Crisscrossing one another. And the paintings also attempt to acknowledge the instability of color recognition by recording the extremes of surface color change on forms made in light. Yet, with all these considerations, the big leap of faith that one must take is to eventually ignore these conscious conclusions and intentions. And in the act of committing shapes and boundary references, contrast, and color to paper, by coaxing and teasing color washes to intensify or subdue relationships, that faith must trust that the simulation of the perceived world becomes convincing. That's all I have to say.
And they are convincing. We feel like we're part of a neighborhood as we've been setting up the show. We're part of it. Shelley.